Good evening. It is 6 o'clock and it is the Good News Live with Jay Ray. What you see is what you get. A lot of times when we hear that statement, or for that matter, when we make that statement, it's a conciliatory statement, right? It's a statement of concession. Hey, think about the physiology. Hey, what you see is what you get. You're saying that as if it's not enough, or it's less than the person should expect, right? What you see is what you get. That is not at all what I'm referring to. When I say what you see is what you get, I'm referring to what you focus on, scratch that. It's not what you see is what you get. What you visualize is what will materialize. Yeah, right? Right here, right now. I'll pat myself on the back. We'll mark it June 2nd, 2020, because I don't do that. But not what you see, what you get. What you visualize will materialize. If you will, number one, identify that which it is you desire, whether it be job, income, hell, vehicle, house, whatever. If you, one, identify that, then if you begin to focus, put your energy, your effort, make it real, and you focus on that, it will materialize. I promise you. Let's go back to 1993. Early fall. The vehicle that I was driving at the time went out, and I'd found a job that I wanted. Unfortunately, it was across town, and I wasn't living in a small town. I'm in Detroit, right? So it was across town. It was 30 minutes by car. My dad took me, waited in the car while I went through the interview, got the job. My dad decided, hey, let's figure out the bus route, and I will commit to getting you to that bus every day and picking you up at the end of your work day. It's more than a notion, because as it turns out, the first bus that I caught was at 6 a.m. I remained on that bus from 6 a.m. to 6:45, at which point I was dropped at a hub. But the hub didn't open until 7. So I'm outside for 15 minutes in Detroit in November. Hub opens at 7, thaw, catch the next bus at 7:15, and it drops me off at the mall nearest my job. Walk through the mall, walk out the back parking lot, get to work about 15 minutes early. Work my work day, get off at 6 o'clock. Make that same return trip. My dad would pick me up from that first bus stop, which was the last on the return trip, about 8:45. By the time I got home and grabbed a shower and something to eat, it was time to shut it down and do it all over again the next day. Think I was playing? No. While on that bus, I'm visualizing everything I want. I'm angry at self about being in this position, and I was resolving to do something, anything, to get out of that position. And so I paid very close attention to my job. I worked very hard at my job and learned enough to move up the ladder fairly quickly. March 17th. So we're about 5 months of riding that bus consistently. There's that word again. I get off the bus. I got on the bus as a rep. I got off the bus as a supervisor, which was 2 steps up in that position, or in that company rather. And when I got off that bus, I was VP of sales and marketing for another company in that same space without a car. About 3.5 weeks later, when I turned 24, I got a car what I got is neither here nor there. Suffice it to say, it is much more than I aspired to have at that time in life. So, what's my point? My point is, I was positioned to focus and visualize on that which I wanted. I was surrounded by someone else that was focused and responsible in terms of helping me to achieve that goal, which was my dad. And hell, even my weekends. On the weekends, I hung out with a great friend of mine, first name Jeff. Jeff had a daughter that he'd had while he was in college. That college was 2.5 hours north of Detroit. Every Friday, Jeff and I would get in the car, drive 2.5 hours one way, pick up his daughter, bring her back down. On Sunday after church, 2.5 hours, take his daughter back, and then come back down to begin our respective work weeks. That man is focused. That man was responsible. And aside from having a good dad myself, that was a hell of an example. It's a 24-year-old man. Every single weekend did 10 hours of round trip driving to get his daughter. I couldn't lose. I was surrounded by focus and responsibility, and it rubbed off. And boy, did it pay off. So remember, I don't know if I can delete it or not, but it's not. I'm putting it in the first comment. It is not what you see is what you get. What you visualize will materialize. Until tomorrow, have a great night. I know I will.